Now we study the helium neon laser. The principle, the construction and working of helium neon laser will now be studied. It is a gas laser. We have different types of lasers based on the active medium. The active medium may be solid, maybe a gas, maybe a semiconductor, maybe a liquid. Just now, the above slides we have studied solid laser, that is ruby laser. Now we are studying the gas laser. Since helium neon is the mixture of gases, it is the gas laser. And this gas laser was developed by Jovan Bennett and Harriet in 1961. In 1961. The principle behind the working of this helium neon laser is the atoms of helium are excited by electrons in the discharge tube to a metastable state. The atoms of helium gets excited to metastable state by or due to the collision of electrons in the discharge tube. The electrons of neon lies very close to the metastable state of helium, due to which there is a resonant transfer of energy from helium atoms to neon atoms, due to which the neon atoms will be lifted to the excited state or to the metastable state from its ground state. From its ground state. Now, due to which the population inversion will be achieved, as there are more number of atoms in metastable state compared to the ground state due to the resonant energy transfer. Now, let us see the construction part. This helium neon laser will consist of a quartz tube of length 1 meter. It quartz tube of length 1 meter and whose inner diameter is about 1.5 centimeter. There will be two mirrors at the two ends of this quartz tube. One is flat and the other is concave. The flat mirror is totally reflecting. The flat mirror is totally reflecting. It is highly polished. Whereas the concave mirror is partially reflecting as it is partially silvered. And these two mirrors kept across the two extreme ends of the quartz tube will serve as the resonant cavity. Will serve as the resonant cavity. Now, the helium and neon gases are filled in the quartz tube in the ratio 10 is to 1. They are filled in the tube in the ratio 10 is to 1 at pressures 1 millimeter of mercury and 0.1 millimeter of mercury respectively. Helium will be at a pressure of 1 millimeter of mercury and neon will be at a pressure of 0.1 millimeter of mercury. If there are 10 atoms of helium, there will be only one atom of neon. Now, there will be two flat windows. There will be two optically flat windows kept at ends of the quartz tube, which allow laser to pass through without any distortion. Without any distortion. And these two windows, optically flat windows, are called Brewster's windows. Are called Brewster's windows. Now, the discharge tube is excited. The discharge tube is excited by means of external electrodes. It consists of external electrodes which are connected to high voltage DC power supply. The helium neon lasing system will have an external diode which is connected to high voltage DC supply in order to get the discharge, that is, in order to get the electrons. These electrons will be moving randomly in the quartz tube, gets collided with helium and neon atoms, and thereby helium and neon atoms will be into the metastable states. For this high voltage DC power supply, the input power should be around 50 watt. Will be around 50 watt. This is about the construction part of helium neon laser. It will have a quartz tube of length 1 meter and inner diameter 1.5 centimeter. Two mirrors, one flat, the other concave. One is fully silvered, the other is partially silvered, kept at the two extreme ends of the quartz tube. So between these two extreme mirrors, two optically flat windows called Brewster's windows are kept, which allows light to pass through without any distortion. The quartz tube is now filled with the mixture of helium and neon gases in the ratio 10 is to 1. If there are 10 atoms of helium atom, there will be only one atom of neon atom, and they are maintained at the pressures of 1 millimeter of mercury for helium and zero point 0.1 millimeter of mercury for neon atoms. And in order to shift the atoms from ground state to metastable state, there should be a discharge system which discharges electrons into the quartz tube, for which two electrodes are maintained at high temperatures, at high voltages, for which the input power will be around 50 watt. This is about the construction part. Now we study the working part. So here you can see this is the quartz tube, and these two are the mirrors, and these are the Brewster's windows, and this is these two are the external electrodes which provide discharge. And here we can get the laser output across the concave partially silvered mirror. Now let me see how it works. When the discharge is passed through the quartz window or through the quartz tube, the electrons will be randomly and continuously traveling within the quartz tube of length 1 meter, during which they collide with helium and neon atoms. When they collide with helium atoms from ground state will be rise to level F2 and F3, will be rise to the metastable states F2 and F3. States E6 and E4 lying very close to F3 and F2, because of which there is transfer of energy, the resonant transfer of energy takes place. Hence, the atoms from ground state of neon will be shifted to E4 and E6 of metastable state. From these two states, there will be there will be spontaneous as well as stimulated emission of radiations to level E5 and E3. When, when it makes transition from E6 to E5, we get energy or we get photon of wavelength 3.29 micrometer, or in other words 3290 3290 nanometer. And when it makes a transition from E5 to E6, E5 to E6, we get 6328 angstrom wavelength. And when atom makes a transition, when the neon atom makes a transition from E4 to E3, it emits a photon of wavelength 1150 nanometer or 1.15 micrometer. 1.15 micrometer and 3.29 micrometer will be in the infrared region, whereas 6328 angstrom will be in the visible region. From these two energy levels, they further decay to E2 spontaneously by emitting wavelength of 600 nanometer. And finally, after colliding with the walls of the tube, they decay to ground state without any emissions. And the system does a non-radiative transition from E2 to G, ground state, non-radiative transfer. Here you can observe helium atom now returns to F after all this. Now the population in E4 and E6 will be greater than E3 and E5. Thus population inversion is said to be achieved. Population in E4 and E6 will be larger than E3 and E5. Thus the population is inversion is said to be achieved. Any spontaneous emission from E6 to E5 or E6 to E3 and E4 to E3 will trigger the laser action. And wavelength of these lasers or wavelength of these transitions is this is infrared, this is visible, and this is also infrared. Here it is mentioned. And also wavelengths are mentioned here again. Neon atoms from E3 to E5, E3 and E5 will drop to E2 by spontaneous emission and finally will brought back to ground state with collision with the walls, and this is a four-level lasing system. Since E3, E4, E5, E6 are involved in getting the laser output, this lasing system, that is helium neon laser, is termed as the four-level lasing system. Four-level lasing system. So let us know what is the function of Brewster's window. The unpolarized wave incident on the plate is assumed to be made up of two superposed plane polarized waves. The unpolarized light incident on the plates, that is the Brewster's windows, is assumed to be made up of two plane polarized waves. The wave among them, one of the wave polarized normal to the plane of oscillation. One of the wave polarized normal to the plane of oscillation will be completely eliminated, whereas the other polarized in the plane of oscillation will be transmitted without any distortion, without any loss. This is the function of Brewster's window. It allows only it allows only the one which is polarized in the plane of oscillation and will reflect the other which is polarized normal to the plane of oscillation. Now we will have a small video clipping about the working of helium neon laser. So here you can see the quartz tube, the quartz tube, the Brewster's windows, fully reflecting mirror, partially reflecting mirror, the helium and neon atoms, the helium and neon atoms filled in this quartz tube, and there is a power supply. There is a power supply, that is the discharge, and these are the electrodes connected to 50-watt power supply. Once this is fired, and once this is the discharge is allowed to enter the quartz tube, the electrons will be randomly moving. About the energy level diagram, energy level diagram, the helium energy level diagram, the neon energy level diagram. There is a resonance transfer of energy from the metastable state of helium to the metastable state of neon, due to which atoms in ground state gets excited. Here only E6 to E3 is shown. E6 to E3 is shown. Only the visible wavelength is shown in this energy level diagram. Only two energy levels are shown. The other two is not shown here. And laser output is also shown. So you can observe here. What about the electrons? So here you can see this neon atom has been excited, since there is some red circle around the helium atoms. concluded that it is in the excited state by collision with the electron of the discharge. There is an there is a quick energy transfer between. So here you can see due to the collision of due to the collision of the helium and neon, there is an energy transfer from helium to neon. Thereby, the neon will be excited. So it is also shown in the energy level diagram. Helium gets excited due to the collision from ground state to the excited state of energy 20.61, and the excited state of neon is 20.66, very close to this, and therefore there is resonance energy transfer, because of which the unexcited neon atom will move to the excited state. And after the energy transfer, this helium atom will return back to the ground state, will return back to ground state. Now, after this, there is spontaneous emission of the atom undergoes spontaneous emission emitting this wavelength photon. This further triggers. So here you can see how the neon atoms are exciting. One once when one neon atom undergo spontaneous emission, a photon will be emitted, and this photon you can see here. This photon you can see here. It will be moving back and forth between the reflecting mirrors until the desired frequency is achieved. Once the desired frequency is achieved, then the output will be obtained across the partially reflecting mirror. So here you can see again how the energy output is obtained, how the laser output is obtained. And finally, there will be spontaneous emission from E3 to E2, E2,